The last robot standing didn't have a chance as it prepared to fight to the death against the blue hedgehog that had already destroyed all of its allies. It fired bullets relentlessly in an attempt to take the hedgehog down. The machine had no such luck, as Sonic was quick to dodge and swiftly threw himself at it in one good spinning smash. The horrific sound of shredding metal was heard, followed by a small explosion just seconds after Sonic's spines made contact with the machine. He landed a few feet away from the damage and stood up. Feeling rather proud of his achievement, Sonic casually brushed off his fur in a demonstration of how little he had been fazed by the ordeal. However, this moment of triumph was short-lived, as a group of armed overlanders in uniforms quickly surrounded him.
Don't move, whatever you are.
Jeez, I saved your town from total destruction, and that's the thanks I get? Talk about no manners.
You have to come with us. Saving or not, you just exhibited a threatening move with those robots. Come quietly, or we'll use force.
Sonic shot a glare at the soldiers, but his attention was averted when his ears perked up to the fierce sound of gyrating helicopter blades in the distance. He smirked as he realized he had a chance to escape.
Sorry guys, but I go my own way.
Before the soldiers could even register what had just happened, Sonic had leapt high into the air and hopped over the rooftops. He increased speed as he neared the top of the bell tower and skillfully jumped onto the helicopter's landing skids just as it flew overhead. The pilot did not seem to notice anything amiss and continued on course to transport supplies to the neighboring city across the ocean. After several hours of travel, the red helicopter carrying supplies finally was making a landing in Spagonia. The blue hedgehog that had hitched a ride noticed the descent and hopped to a nearby auburn rooftop just before it touched the ground. He stretched his stiff back and muscles from the long trip across the ocean and sighed with relief.
Ugh, man, that took forever!
He looked around in awe when he noticed his surroundings. The city was huge. Giant stone buildings with orange-tiled rooftops went on for miles into the very distant mountains of the horizon. Looking closer, he saw that the settlement was surrounded by an enormous stone wall. The sightseeing came to a sudden halt when Sonic's nose twitched to a particular smell that made his stomach churn in hunger. His stomach growled, reminding him that it had been too long since he last ate and was begging for a meal. Not just any meal. His stomach was craving for the raw meat behind the tempting smell that drifted from the marketplace a few blocks down.
Well, this is new.
Despite his better judgment, he already found himself running to the market. He stopped and hid himself behind a large plant in a ceramic pot and peered through the leaves. He spotted the meat hanging in the stall and couldn't help but lick his lips and drool a bit in hunger. Unable to resist the urge, he zipped across the road and snatched the hanging piece of steak in the blink of an eye, only appearing as a blue blur to those who stood by. Sonic took his meal to a high rooftop and chowed down hungrily in a few big bites. He wiped his mouth on the back of his glove when he had finished, leaving a long smear of grease across the fabric.
That wasn't so bad, I guess.
While Sonic started to take a few walking steps to explore, the pink sky grew darker, and the sun slowly disappeared on the horizon. The sound of generators starting up gradually filled the streets, as there was still no electricity. A few of the street lights came on to illuminate the roads. That's when he felt it.
Ah!
A great surge of familiar, overwhelming pain immediately set the hedgehog on his knees. He panted and breathed heavily as he clutched his fist tight. He looked in horror as he noticed his tan arms becoming darker, and his fur growing longer.